1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but it rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Today, each of you have come to celebrate the love between Ryan Blake Rumrick and Mariah Lynn O'Connor Comer. It is this love that brings us here today, and for a moment, I'll ask Ryan and Mariah to turn and look at all the people here. If you are here today, it is because you are willing to stand with, to encourage, to pray, to laugh, and sometimes even cry, to live life with Ryan and Mariah. Those present today are willing to help both of you in this journey. And for this, Ryan and Mariah are thankful. You all may be seated. Today I'd like to encourage and challenge both of you. Firstly, I would encourage you both to breathe. Breathing is good. This charge that I bring you is not easy. Marriage takes work. Both of you have expressed that you have given your lives as Christians. This means your lives are given to God in a way that you both pursue Him and make the gospel known to the world around you by the way that you live. John 17:3, which is one of Ryan's favorite verses, puts it like this: "And this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent." And because of this, we will go to the scriptures for this charge. We'll start by going to Ephesians 5:1. This chapter is a wonderful example for Christians to follow. Let's read. "Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave Himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." You may ask, why do I bring up this verse? Of course, it's because Jesus is our example. We imitate Him. And why do we imitate Him? It's because Jesus, being God, shows perfect love. Ryan, Mariah, God cares deeply how both of you respond to each other because He loves you as His children. Let's look quickly at the challenge set before you today. In verse 2 it says, "And walk in love as Christ loved us and gave Himself for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." There are three things I want to point out in this part of the verse. Number one, the challenge set before you two: to walk in love. We walk in love because as Christians, we imitate God. The word Christian literally means follower of Christ. Number two, the action: to give yourself. This is where it gets tough. Marriage is hard work. It takes a giving of one's deepest, innermost being. This action is best described in Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And this is my favorite part: against such things there is no law. Number three, the result: a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. The Old Testament often describes an offering as a sweet-smelling aroma to God. It is something that pleases God. Your actions between each other please God. Let's make it personal. Ephesians 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Ryan, it is your privileged role to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself. To do this, you must know your wife. Pay attention to her, nurture her, cherish her. The husband is called to be the head of his wife, just as Christ is the head of the church. This means you must sacrifice yourself, your needs, your desires, and dreams for the sake of your wife and your family. This also means that you have the burden of taking the initiative of leadership. There is no more powerful attitude and action that a man can have than to love his wife like this. Ephesians 5:22 says, "Wives, help and follow your husbands as to the Lord." Mariah, it is your privileged role to be helper to your husband as he leads your family. This role, just like the husband's role, is to give of yourself.